I want to turn it over to you. Jerry, I want to turn it over to you for some comments. And thank you for your leadership throughout this entire process.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoy doing this from the TIC 3.0 working group, and moving into this group has been, it just was a logical thing. And I'm very passionate about the overall discussion of Zero Trust. For those of you that know me, you can probably attest to that. Yeah, so we're happy to have Lumen here today, but just to update anyone in case you don't participate in our ATARC working group, we have had phase one. Phase one was allowing the various vendors, and we have about 70 or so now at this point participating, doing individual presentations over for the last year of how they apply their solutions towards helping with Zero Trust. So we've gone through all those presentations. They've been recorded and put on the ATARC's YouTube channel if you're interested in going back and seeing any of them. We are now moving to phase two. Phase two is where we're asking the vendors participating to bring on their integrators or partner with the other vendors to show us a solution across the pillars. So not so much presentation of what can you do for us, but show us what you can actually do. And they have use cases which they're supposed to present. They'll be presented to government only. We will be having the vendors come in at our next meeting, which is on February 16th. We meet every other Thursday, so our next meeting is February 2nd, where we meet with government only. In that meeting, we are not only talking about progress with the vendor labs coming up, but also we are starting to share best practices, lessons learned between our government folks individually. And then, like I said, we'll bring in the vendors as needed to catch up on progress, answer questions, help them with challenges and things like that. Lumen, from what I've seen here, is kind of in that phase 1.5, where we're going to see kind of not a niche, but more of an integrated solution. So excited to look at that. This is being recorded. I do know that there are some government folks that are interested in seeing this later. So we'll be providing the links to them as well. But if you are interested in participating in our working group, please reach out to me or Tom or Chris Kirkendale, who's on here as well. And we're happy to get you set up, or Elizabeth also can help get you set up and engaged with our working group, because like I said, we're starting to share best practices, lessons learned, as a lot of us in the government are starting to get out of the planning phase and actually make some progress on some things. But with that, thank you for coming. And with that, Lumen, I will let you take it from here. And thank you for doing this presentation for us today.
We have a fantastic lineup.
That our nation's government defend the vital institutions that underpin the American way of life. Agencies understand that they need an open and transparent government to optimize efficiencies, accelerate the speed of innovation, and transform digital experiences. At the core of any digital transformation in this fourth industrial revolution is data. It is the most valuable asset, and it is what our adversaries seek to steal and disrupt. Lumen, with one of the largest, deeply peered IP backbones in the world, has a unique visibility into the threats that emerge around the globe. As such, we have an inherent shared responsibility to leverage our network as a threat sensor to better detect and respond to malicious activities for ourselves, our customers, and the community at large. Today's security landscape needs constant monitoring, and it's our mission to keep the internet clean.
Thank you for joining us today. The Lumen Technologies team is excited to be here discussing Zero Trust architecture. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers along with a live demonstration of Zero Trust integration. I'm your host, Christine Farron. I lead the cybersecurity sales practice for the federal civilian market. Lumen is not only a provider of network services to the U.S. government, we are a key partner in your IT modernization and Zero Trust journey. We understand that Zero Trust is more than just a modern security approach supporting the way employees work today. It's also about improving your user experience for both the government employee and the US citizen who's accessing government data and services. Today, you're going to hear from a variety of Lumen speakers representing our leadership, our threat intelligence, our product and integration teams. When you walk away from this presentation today, you should have an understanding of who Lumen is and our expertise in the government market, our public sector cybersecurity product strategy that's designed with customers at the center to help solve for agencies' greatest security challenges, our position as a zero trust integrator with unique capabilities allowing us to pull in best of breed partners to solve for each of the zero trust scenarios that ATARC has provided, while also helping our customers keep pace with the adversary threats of the future. During our live demo, you'll see how we integrate zero trust technologies to solve for the phase 1 scenarios. We're also well on our way to solving for phase 2, and we'll present that in the next round. At the end of our presentation, there will be a question and answer session after the recording ends. The first speaker you'll hear from today is Zain Ahmed. Zain is Senior Vice President for Lumen's Public Sector and Enterprise East business segments. He has 20 plus years of experience supporting government agencies with technology solutions. He's received numerous company and industry awards, including being recognized by the AFCEA 40 Under 40 and the AFCEA Bethesda Innovator of the Year Award in 2019. Let's hear from Zain now.
Lumen. While our name is new, our track record is long. We've long been the network provider for agencies and an experienced integrator to help our customers digitally transform. We own our global IP backbone and network, so we understand how fast it's shifting. We have vast experience in networking, cloud, cybersecurity, and managed services. And our unique threat intel visibility allows us to see and disrupt attacks before our customers even detect it. As we help our customers along their transformation journey, security has become the top concern. The 4 challenges we're seeing most often. Number 1, lack of cybersecurity talent. Number 2, cost to maintain cybersecurity solutions. Number 3, overall noise from the security solutions that are in place, understanding what to respond to. And lastly, I would say, understanding of the cybersecurity executive order and government-related mandates. We continue to see the rise in ransomware, DDoS, and critical infrastructure attacks. Here at Lumen, we believe in furthering human progress through technology. We can't do that in an unprotected environment. If we want agencies to fully embrace a digital experience, they need to have trust. As a trusted integrator and managed cybersecurity provider, we bring 4 things to bear. Number 1, cutting-edge threat intel. We see more, we protect more. Number 2, seasoned cybersecurity analysts that have seen these threats all over in a complex environment. Number 3, state-of-the-art security monitoring and response orchestration solutions. And lastly, strong partnership with leading cybersecurity solutions providers. This way, our agency customers can focus on their mission at hand and have the confidence that we are strengthening their security posture. Now, agencies are faced with meeting zero trust mandates. Look, there is no magic pill or one solution that's going to get you solid. We own the network, we own our digital platform, and we understand how to pull things together, all the elements with our partners to form one cohesive operational picture. We can help you plan, implement, and operate in a secure solution environment. We are here to partner with you on this zero trust journey. Thank you.
As you've heard from Zain, our history is long and our expertise is deep. This work is not new to us. We've been on the journey with key agencies over the past few years in deploying SASE frameworks, delivering SD-WAN deployments, and TIC 3.0 environments as initial phases. We'll continue to do this work for the next 10 plus years under the GSA EIS contract. We are honored to be a key partner in supporting the varied missions of the US government. You need flexibility in your approach, and you need a partner that will evolve with you over the continuum of technology, and that is where Lumen excels. Here's how we do it. We track 2.3 million threats per day. We feed over 200 billion net flow sessions into our machine learning models, and we respond to 6,300 DDoS attacks per quarter. Next, we're going to learn about how Black Lotus Labs team enriches our security offerings.
Understanding the threat landscape has never been more important to today's businesses. But in order to get ahead of threats, you need to be able to see and track how they emerge and evolve. What if you could apply threat indicators gleaned from the breadth of the internet to identify those potentially targeting your environment? That's where Lumen Black Lotus Labs comes in. As the threat research team of Lumen Technologies, Black Lotus Labs uses unmatched global visibility from the Lumen Internet backbone, one of the largest and most deeply peered networks, to uncover the infrastructure bad actors use to wage attacks, from DDoS to ransomware to sophisticated and highly targeted campaigns. Our combination of expert research, machine learning, and automation leverages a massive data lake to conduct original threat discovery across the internet, analyzing more than 200 billion NetFlow sessions and more than 1 billion DNS queries each day, baselining the behavior of the internet to identify and alert on suspicious behaviors and attack patterns. But we don't stop there. When we confirm malicious infrastructure, we take confident action to disrupt it by regularly blocking, taking down, and notifying on confirmed command and control servers. And we feed this intelligence into the Lumen Connected Security portfolio to block threats before they reach your organization. Malicious actors have shown they have the resources and motivation to target networks of all sizes, but they can't hide in the shadows forever. Black Lotus Labs quickly sees and disrupts threats that others can't. Learn how Black Lotus Labs helps protect Lumen customers and keep the internet clean. Visit us at lumen.com/BlackLotusLabs.
Our next speaker is Michelle Lee, Director of Threat Intelligence at Lumen Black Lotus Labs. Michelle leads the company's group of malware reverse engineers, security researchers, and data scientists who play a vital role in helping us see the threats that others can't and disrupting them to protect our customers. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm Michelle Lee, Director of Threat Intelligence at Black Lotus Labs here at Lumen. As you saw, Black Lotus Labs is the threat intelligence arm of Lumen and one of the teams responsible for protecting Lumen and keeping the internet clean. I'm excited to be here today to shed light on threat activity that Black Lotus Labs has observed and how zero trust solutions can help strengthen the modern security of an organization's posture. Today, we see adversaries demonstrating an increased understanding of their target's internal network environment, often even better than many network defenders do. Adversaries are moving with increased speed to weaponize the latest vulnerabilities into access vectors, sometimes before defenders have thoroughly combed for patch coverage. We've seen this play out in breach after breach. We see actors be able to translate zero-day vulnerabilities, as was the case with Log4j, into exploits in less than a week. Or we see them be able to reverse engineer patches for new vulnerabilities in virtualization appliances in under 48 hours. Not to mention, even within the last quarter, several cases of zero-day exploitation against edge devices. As actors evolve, we, the defenders, have to continue to evolve as well. We've seen a rash of social engineering attacks in recent months. We've seen adversaries come against some of the nation's top organizations and target them hard, successfully bypassing authentication best practices. In some cases, the organizations were resilient and breaches were stopped early, limited to an infinitesimal portion of the organization's data and infrastructure. And in others, the impact was devastating. The adversary was able to act on knowledge they acquired about target networks, taking advantage of the door left open. And we see this where the zero trust principles implemented in the journey make it harder and more costly for bad actors to execute their goals. I don't say journey lightly. Zero trust is a pathway to maturing your organization's security posture and to continually raise the bar for the adversary. Comprehensive security architecture changes are hard, but the cost benefit is unquestionable. The essence of implementing a zero trust transformation means controlling and monitoring access to the data and apps in your organization so that the actor is stopped in their tracks by the hardened network. We see the result of a zero trust transformation mean that an organization's defenders have some breathing room. The adversary is likely locked into a limited user context where access to the organization's critical resources isn't a guarantee. In a zero trust transformation, defenders are in the driver's seat when it comes to visibility over lateral movement and fallout from one-day vulnerability exploitation. Defenders are empowered to detect lateral movement during the inevitable breach attempt and have confidence that high-value data is segmented. It marks the difference between the adversary walking out with a little bit of source code or everything from a Windows domain to a cloud development environment. It's our job as defenders, as people who observe the adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures every day to make sure that catastrophe isn't the only option. And that is the zero trust world. Back to you, Christine.
Thank you, Michelle. You've heard us discuss our shared responsibility to keep the internet clean. In addition, we believe we must do our part to collaborate and share our insights to bolster the nation's cybersecurity efforts. Here are just a few examples of where we are leaders. We are a founding member of the JCDC, CISA's Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative, which includes public and private sector working shoulder to shoulder to understand and respond to cyber threats against our nation. Since its inception 40 years ago, Lumen and its predecessor companies have been a member of the NSTAC, the National Security Telecommunications Advisory Committee. This group advises the president on the direction the nation should take to avoid and reduce emerging risks. Lumen has a leadership role in the National Coordinating Center ComISAC, which is the only joint industry government information sharing and analysis center. This group coordinates cross-sector response through the National Council of ISACs. We have a long history of collaborating with the government, and we believe that it's our responsibility to continue to do so, especially in the zero trust world. Now, as we talk through our product portfolio and how we support zero trust architecture for our customers, I'd like to introduce you to Lonnie Addix. She's Director of Product Management for Public Sector Cybersecurity. Lonnie has been supporting federal networks for more than 20 years, and she currently drives the public sector cybersecurity strategy and roadmap for Lumen. She's been honored with multiple accolades across her career. Most recently, she was awarded the Women of Color in STEM Technology Rising Star in 2021. Now over to you, Lonnie.
Thank you, Christine, and good morning to everyone on the call today. As Christine mentioned, I'm Lonnie Addix, Director of Product Management for Public Sector Cybersecurity. And with Lumen Connected Security, our goal is to build a foundation of next-gen experiences for each of our customers. In our public sector division, we are dedicated to providing that experience catered to the needs and requirements of our federal, state, local, and educational entities. To rise to the standard demanded by our U.S. government needs, Lumen Managed Security Services are supported by experienced cybersecurity SOC analysts and management, based out of restricted access security operations centers in 2 diverse U.S. locations. Our SOCs are fully staffed and operate on a 24/7 basis, 365 days of the year. We have service availability on the EIS contract, GSA MAS, and other government contract vehicles. Our government managed security services are in compliance with FedRAMP, FISMA, DHS, CISA, and NIST standards. We are focused on providing around-the-clock monitoring and management for visibility and oversight required to help ensure the safety of our government networks. In support of zero trust initiatives, along with the traditional security services such as firewall and DDoS management, Lumen is working to enable a fully managed detection and response solution, incorporating endpoint detection and response and web application security. Log event correlation facilitated by SIM and SOAR technology, enhanced with threat intelligence and open source feeds, will allow for an unparalleled threat defense solution. So in accordance with the executive order, we've also aligned our security services with the 5 pillars of the DHS Zero Trust Maturity Model. The integration of identity attributes is key. we work to identify and verify integration of our security services with government identity technologies such as Active Directory and anti-phishing MFA solutions like those provided by industry-leading vendor Okta. We also partner with innovative identity companies like Porsche to address non-person entity authentication. To secure government devices, Lumen has partnered with CrowdStrike to provide a fully monitored and managed service utilizing their Falcon endpoint detection and response technology. SOC analysts will monitor your traditional and mobile endpoint devices for indicators of compromise, combined with behavioral risk analytics for a comprehensive threat analysis. Lumen utilizes its strength and network presence to provide a secure transport of government data across multi-facets of network access options, ranging from copper and fiber connections to satellite and cellular. SD-WAN solutions employ smart routing to maximize multi-access options and also encrypt the data in flight as it travels from one destination to the next. Cisco has recently become one of the leaders in the FedRAMP-compliant SD-WAN solution and is a valued partner of Lumen. Overlaying that network pillar, our Lumen TIC 3.0 and ZTNA solutions designed with Palo Alto and Zscaler technology enable secure access service edge or SASE capable solutions. This can be applied to both remote offices and remote users, restricting access to applications on a granular level as dictated by zero trust principles. Our SOC teams will work with you to implement and enforce compliant security policies to protect your applications. And last but certainly not least, protection of the data while it is at rest is critical to enforcing a zero trust solution. With Lumen Network Storage, we also provide a managed data storage solution for on-site zero trust compliant FIPS 140-3 encryption of data storage. When it comes to the enablement of zero trust for our government customers, at Lumen, we understand that each customer is at a different state on the journey. Our teams have focused efforts on defining our position as a zero trust solutions integrator. Enforcement of zero trust is a cooperative effort and requires interoperability of multiple capabilities and technologies. As a managed security services provider, we've honed in on those existing vendor relationships while also establishing new partnerships with market leaders with a common refinement of technology to meet zero trust requirements. As a result, Lumen can provide your organization with a holistic security policy management, visibility and analytics with the integration of multiple services and technologies. Our teams work with the vendors to specifically test interoperability of features and capabilities so that we can competently provide management oversight in support of ZTA objectives, as you'll see here today with our demonstrations. So now it's time for the main attraction. Our teams have worked very diligently over the past few months to put together a few demonstrations to show you today on how Lumen supports zero trust and technology solution integration. I'd like to introduce you to Elric Ramirez, who leads our Lumen integration team. Elric, take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, Lonnie. First, let me talk to you about what the integration team is. We're a team that supports integration and engineering of zero trust and other cyber technologies. Our aim is to create systems that work together to accomplish a customer's needs and improve existing environments. Now, let me introduce my team that helped me build the zero trust environment that we're going to be demonstrating today. First is Hunter Wright. He's our integration network lead. He'll be demonstrating what the user sees on their end. Next will be Will Potter, and he's our integration system engineer. He'll be showing what the SOC sees on their side of a zero trust environment and what tools they use to respond and automate the SOC's capabilities. Now let's move on to our Zero Trust Lab. Our Zero Trust Lab is what we've been using for R&D to develop our Zero Trust architecture. How the integration team approached this was we first started looking at the pillars and foundations of Zero Trust. Using NIST SP 800-207, NIST SP 1835 or 1835, and Memorandum 2209, we went about targeting those pillars. First, let's look at our Azure Active Directory that we're using for our identity and user group management. And then we're moving to our Palo Alto Prisma, which is our TIC 3.0 that we're using to address our environment pillar or network pillar. Also here for device, we have our CrowdStrike Falcon. As you can see, these are all in the cloud, and these all send logs to a on-prem lab. We built our lab in a hybrid environment, both on-prem and cloud, because this demonstrates not all environments are the same. We're going to have some environments that are all cloud, some that are all on-prem, but many are going to be hybrid. And many people starting their journey into the Zero Trust will most likely start with a hybrid environment. In this on-prem environment here, we have our log server. This log server is receiving all the logs from those devices that are in the cloud and from our VMs. As you can see here, we have our Palo Alto connection, our AAD connection, and our CrowdStrike API. We're using secure connections to all these devices to ensure that data is protected. The syslog then forwards all of the logs and events to our SIEM, which is our Splunk. This is where your SOC gets all of their logs, where they'll do all their investigation, be able to create alerts and view events for investigations or, investigating logs and events that are currently happening. Splunk then sends a logs, alerts, and events to our SOAR, which is swim lane. The SOAR is a very critical piece of any Zero Trust architecture because this is where you'll do your orchestration and automation. Automation is key in the Zero Trust architecture. Automation will reduce the time that your SOC has to put on low-hanging fruit, and they can focus on critical things, and they can focus on investigating high critical alerts and figure out what's going on in the environment more rapidly. Also, this allows the team to orchestrate all of the other tools that they have in the Zero Trust environment to send tasks and other things to the other pieces in the environment. Next is our case management. Swim lane will be sending alerts or tickets to our ServiceNow, which is integrated, which will receive those tickets. And this is important to track events and alerts that are happening. Also, we come back to here, you'll see the Corsia proxy. Corsia is what we're using to protect and provide additional identity pillar to our machine-to-machine communications. And in our lab, you'll see that Splunk using an API is going through the Corsia proxy, which adds that additional identity, sending it to ServiceNow. And finally, here, this is our cloud environment that has our VMs that are helping us do this demonstration. Here we have the HQ office with a web server on it, a branch office, and a foreign site. Each one of these VMs have additional securities with the CrowdStrike agent, which provides the EDR, and the Global Protect client. This is what allows the VMs to connect to the TIC 3.0. Now let's move on to the first scenario. In this scenario, we're going to demonstrate a user at a satellite office. They're using government furnished equipment, and they need to access resources to do their job online. But we also want to ensure we're restricting by policy possible harmful areas. And a perfect example of this might be like a FEMA satellite office that was created during an event. So let's go to Hunter and he'll demonstrate the capabilities of Zero Trust in this scenario. On to you, Hunter.
All right, thank you, Eric. So as Eric stated, for this demonstration, I'm going to be acting as a remote user. In order to connect, I'm going to need to connect to my TIC 3.0 solution here. I'm going to log in. This is going to validate my identity, addressing the first pillar. And also, while this connects, we're performing a series of host information checks in the background here. So in addition to our CrowdStrike Falcon, we are also ensuring this host is compliant with the latest security patches, that it has its firewall on, that it has, anything that you configure to be checked will be checked during this step. Now that we're connected, we are addressing the third pillar, the network pillar, since we have now created a secure VPN back to our TIC 3.0 solution. A user can now attempt to access the internet, which you can see they have full access to here. They can, for instance, if I was a network administrator and I needed to access Cisco for review of some documentation or to download a security patch in order to do an update on some equipment, I can access that to do my job. But if I wanted to access, say, a restricted site, such as this one in particular, or others like it, you will see the user is not permitted access to these resources. To further demonstrate, we can block all social media here, and the user will not be allowed to access these resources. In case you're wondering what's preventing a user from simply not connecting to that TIC 3.0 solution when they log in, that can be configured in a way that automatically spins up that session when the user logs in. And it can also be set so they're not allowed to disable that connection. For purposes of this lab, I have it a little more opened up so I have a little more control of what I'm doing here for demonstrations. But I think that covers it for scenario one. Eric, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Hunter. In Zero Trust Lab, your goal shouldn't be to restrict your employees' access, because they'll always need to do their job, and there's many resources online that they have to get to. But also, you want to restrict potentially harmful areas online. As you can see here, we are making that an essential piece where you can even add areas online that are harmful, either through indicators found through something your SOC found, or just web pages you don't want employees going to. Again, we're demonstrating the pillars of the Zero Trust architecture, and in further ones, we'll demonstrate even more. Let's move on to scenario 2. In scenario 2, we have an employee that's completely remote. They're using their own personal device. An example of this could really be, let's say there's a winter storm that the employee can't go to the office. But this employee has to reach an application online and do administrative work. So you're going to see them do that, log in administratively, But then at the same time, this employee travels overseas a lot. And so you're going to see them, you try to access resources overseas. And then you're going to see what accesses change based on regionality. Hunter, on to you.
All right, thank you again, Ulrich. Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm going to be acting as a remote user using my own personal device. Again, I need to connect with my Global Protect client, but first I want to give you just a little bit of lay of the land here and show you what I can and can't do. Since this is my own personal device, I can access social media or things that I probably shouldn't during my work time, but I can't access this on-prem resource here. This is where I need to log in to do my work. And so I need to now turn up my Global Protect client. Where again, I will validate my identity one more time. And again, this machine is being checked. There's the series of host information checks that are going on in the background here to ensure that I'm patched, I'm up to date, I have my firewall on, and I'm not introducing any bad omens or vulnerabilities into the environment by connecting this device. So we will get connected here. Now that we're connected, we have that secure IPsec VPN. So we're now addressing the network pillar, sending all traffic back to our TIC 3.0 solution. You can see now that I can still access the internet as I could in the previous example, but now I can access our secure web server here. I don't have any permissions to view any of the content here because I need to provide further additional login criteria. So I will sign into this site here using my user credentials. You can now see I have access to view the resource on this page. This is the user portion of this site. If they want to view the admin portion, they will have to log in to view that piece. So I will switch my user here. And I will sign in again using my admin account. And you can see I'm now authorized to view this particular content. I can also view this content because it is the user terminal and I have access to both those using my admin account. We will now see what happens when I switch my gateway to a foreign gateway. And when this is deployed, users will not have the option to randomly pick the gateway they use. It will connect to the closest geographically related one to them. So I will log in here. And since I am changing my gateway, I need to validate my identity again. The system is again checking to make sure this endpoint is compliant. Once it's connected, we are now routing all traffic from this endpoint back to our secure TIC 3.0 solution. Both IPv4 and IPv6 addressing is compatible with this solution. So you'll now see that I cannot access that resource I was previously able to see because I'm now connected to a different geographic location. So if I'm vacationing in the French Riviera, I may not have access to those resources that I did when I was on home soil. So I think that covers it for scenario 2. Ulrich, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thanks, Hunter. What makes the Zero Trust pillar is so powerful is all of them working together to make a solution. If you have just one pillar covered, it breaks apart the entire Zero Trust architecture. In this scenario, we're seeing the pillars address and working together to ensure they're protecting the application and only providing administrative functionality to the people that need it. And on top of that, you're seeing regionally, you can protect your assets from possibly someone being in foreign soil and viewing things that shouldn't be maybe viewed in that area. And keep in mind, as Hunter's going through all these scenarios, all of these logs and datas are being pulled and sent to our SIM. And it's creating alerts and events there. Let's move on to scenario 3. In scenario 3, we have a user from agency AB, and they're interfacing and trying to get important information from a system from agency XY. An example of this could be background information that they're trying to retrieve. And then at the end of the scenario, you're going to see a bad actor having compromised credentials and trying to use them. On to you, Hunter.
All right, thank you again, Ulrich. Okay, so for this scenario, I am already logged into my machine here. Again, I need to connect to my secure TIC 3.0 solution. I will validate my identity. Allowing me to access this. Again, those same host information checks are being performed in the background. While this comes up, that is running through those checks there. We are establishing a secure IPsec VPN. So we tunnel all traffic from this endpoint through our TIC 3.0 solution where we can enforce security policy and different routing options on that. Now that we are connected, I will access this web server here. I will sign in. And for this scenario, this user has some additional protections applied to it. We're using MFA, or multi-factor authentication. So this user, me in particular, will be prompted for a PIN in order to access this site. Now, MFA can be turned up for all users. We just have it turned up for this particular one for this demonstration. Now you can see I'm logged in. I'm able to view the resource I'm allowed to, and I can download a file from agency XY. That accomplishes that piece there. I will now log out and attempt to perform the same actions as if I was a bad actor here. We'll say that somebody may have shoulder surfed me at a coffee shop when I was working remotely, and they have stolen my credentials. So they are able to use my username and password, but they don't have every piece, right? Since it's multi-factor authentication, that's something I know and something I have. Here are the two factors we are using. So the something I have is my phone. So this is going to text me a code, but not text them a code here. So they will attempt to guess what the PIN is. They will, of course, be incorrect in their attempts, and they will be denied access to this resource here. So that is what happens if a bad actor compromises my credentials there. I think that covers it for scenario 3. I'll hand it back to you, Howard.
Thanks, Hunter. Multi-factor authentication is a powerful tool in the Zero Trust architecture. And a key component for in Memorandum 2209 was phishing resistant multi-factor authentication. That piece is being built in and made even stronger as we speak. It's an important part to integrate because our adversaries are getting better and better at trying to phish and trying to get information even when using multi-factor authentication. And also protecting your data is critical, and ensuring the identity of that data is critical as well. And in the background here, Corsia is assisting that with machine-to-machine protections. So let's move on to scenario 4. In this scenario, we're going to show a developer that's working on a project, but they work on an isolated server that only developers can access. And then we're going to have a non-developer employee attempt to access that server. On to you, Hunter.
Thank you, Ulrich. Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm already connected to my Tech 3.0 solution since I'm using a resource that is located at my HQ here. I'll show you I have access to the internet, but I also have a resource located at this IP address. You will see I'm unable to reach it in this fashion because of the way we have micro-segmented the resources here. I have to go about it a little different way. I'll need to use an SSH client to access this resource. For that, I'm going to use PowerShell here. You'll see I'm now able to reach that server. I'm also able to log in and access my projects. I am in the correct security groups with this user. That is why I'm allowed to access these things. So we'll see what happens now when somebody who is not in this particular security group attempts to access this resource. For that, we have this other user here, Beta Blue. They will attempt to log in. But unfortunately, since they're not in the correct security group, they will be denied access to this resource. All right, Ulrich, I think that covers it for scenario 4. I'll hand it back over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Hunter. In this scenario, you're seeing how we're using microsegmentation to limit access of other users. So only the users that need access to that are getting it. You can do this in identity and also in the environment networking pillar. Microsegmentation is a major part of the Zero Trust environment because this helps prevent bad actors from going to a compromised machine and then moving laterally and just having their own free will in your environment. This also helps prevent unauthorized access from employees that don't need to get to that information. Now that we've gone through the scenarios, let's look at the back end, the SOC. The Zero Trust is just more than the pillars, it's also the foundation. Visibility, analytics, automation, orchestration are crucial foundations to Zero Trust, and without them, it isn't Zero Trust. And in this backend, we're going to show how the SOC responds to the alerts, the logs coming in, and the tools we're using. and the automation that is capable in them. Will, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. So first I'll be showing you guys what it is our analysts would be seeing via our SIM, which in this case is Splunk. As you can see, we have a few basic tiles here that kind of give us a story of what's going on in our environment. First, I'll draw your attention to the Azure MFA fail panel here that shows a few spikes in events when Hunter attempted to access that resource with the correct username and password, but without the ability to use that multi-factor authentication. Moving on to the next one, you'll see that we also were able to capture the events in which an IP address from a remote location that is not authorized was blocked from accessing our internal resource. Additionally, we have data on the social media deny, which could be useful on keeping track of user behavior in our environment and enabling us to bring that behavior into compliance. We also have these two pie charts here at the top that give us data on individual user data usage and activity. As you can see, Alpha Red, one of our primary test users, has had quite a few events that could be considered red flags. Finally, you'll see here at the bottom, we have a total number of malware events in the last 7 days. These, of course, don't be alarmed, are artificially generated for the purposes of our demonstration in our lab. Next, I'll show you what our orchestration tool looks like here on the other side. So in this case, we use the orchestration tool Swimlane to ingest some of the events that our SIM has captured and correlate them with other events in order to take appropriate action. In this case, you can see that we have 3 different unique event types that were triggered for this Alpha Red user. And as a result, we have those few events correlated so that an analyst can take a look and see what's going on. Even more interestingly, we have here in ServiceNow an actual case created for tracking and case management that includes data from that connection to Swimlane. This was automatically generated when those 3 events were correlated for that specific user. And of course, with Swimlane, you could do a myriad of different possibilities based on your needs in your environment. It's also important to note that we have our Splunk instance connected directly to ServiceNow as well in order to demonstrate the power of Corsia, which is a machine-to-machine multi-factor authentication solution that really addresses the data pillar of Zero Trust. That concludes the back-end demonstration for our demo. Back to you, Ulrich.
Thank you, Will. This is just the tip of the iceberg for Lumen's integration lab. We're going to continue to add more and more vendors and products and integrate them in because every Zero Trust environment is different. There's no silver bullet for Zero Trust. No one solution will solve the problem. It's complex and it's difficult. But Lumen is here to help you with that. And we want to make sure every different Zero Trust environment is addressed differently. And you already have investments in place. You already have your technologies in your environments. And we want to help you integrate technologies into those existing environments, not to rewrite your entire environment, but to build Zero Trust in what you have. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you sitting through our demonstration. On to you, Christine.
Wow, Elric and team, thank you for that impressive presentation of Zero Trust in action. We want to thank our attendees for your time today, and a special thanks to ATARC for creating this opportunity that brings industry and government together to help solve the Zero Trust challenges. While today's demonstration was limited to only 4 scenarios, our phase 2 demonstration will address all 12 scenarios. These demonstrations are hosted in our Lumen R&D Integration Lab environment. Our team of experts is ready to help you address the zero trust challenges within your environment and the selection of the best technologies and partners to integrate into your network. We encourage you to contact our team directly about your needs and discuss how we can help. Now we're going to stop the recording and start the interactive question and answer session. I'm going to hand it over to Jason Brumfield, Senior Director of Specialized Sales at Lumen, to moderate the Q&A. Over to you, Jason. We have a fantastic